You're listening to Popcorn and Politics. What's the real deal? Hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney and Derek J. Wilson. Asking the hard-hitting questions you want answers to. From political leaders and political hopefuls from around the world.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Popcorn and Politics. I'm your host, Audrey Bell Kearney, along with my co-host, Derek J. Wilson. Good afternoon, Derek.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I am fantabulous, actually. I am fantabulous. I've been a little stuffy over the week, but
Uh-oh.
I'm good. I'm good. I didn't have a fever and chills and all that stuff. I was just a little stuffy. I couldn't tell what it was, and I tried to get a COVID test, but man, that was like trying to get a ticket to the president election, inaugural election or something like that. It was like I
Super
couldn't
Bowl or
get one.
something.
Yeah, Super
Yeah.
Bowl. Bro, that'd be nice though. Be nice. Listen, if you guys want to show Derek and I some appreciation, we need 4 tickets. Maria like football.
I
You don't
mean,
even like football.
but she would want to go.
Okay.
What you
We
mean? I
need
mean, I
four.
don't. I mean, I like it enough to go to a Super Bowl.
We need 4 tickets to the Super Bowl. 4. We'll even take nosebleed seats. Not really, but
Yeah.
if you're gonna
I
give them
rather
to us.
I rather not go if it's in Dallas.
Why? Well, I don't think it's in Dallas. I think the Super Bowl's in LA this year.
Well, they're talking. It could, depending on LA's COVID, you know, restrictions, it may end up be moved to Dallas.
Why you want to go out if it's in Dallas? Texas is your home. They
Yeah,
do everything big in Texas.
but Dallas is not. I'm from Houston, H Town.
LA ain't your home. You know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but nah, that's just that love hate relationship between Dallas and Houston. Uh, if you from Dallas or you from Houston, you totally understand. It's just a love hate relationship. You know,
so
we'll
you telling me that I can take your 2 tickets and sell them so somebody else can go with me in Franklin? Because
if they if they in Dallas, yeah, I just as long as I get a cut, that's all.
no. Ain't no cuts now. Listen, you going or you're not going.
Look, it's like a sibling. We may argue, we may fight, but ain't nobody outside coming in and stepping in between us. When it
That's
come down
right.
to Texas, we Texans.
That's right. I understand. Listen, I understand.
But
All
yeah.
right, y'all. So listen, let's get on with this show. So who's our guest next week? Let's talk about that real quick. Who we got coming up next week?
Well, next week we have none other than the state representative Donna McLeod. She's running for U.S. Congress District 7, which represents mostly Gwinnett County now due to the new the new maps. She's running against incumbent uh, Congresswoman Carolyn Bardeau, as well as House District 6, or not House District, but Congressional District 6, Congresswoman Lucy McBath. And so I would love to get all 3 of them on the show. That would be amazing because
That'd be epic.
right, because we have questions from all 3 of them that needs to be answered, and I would love to hear each one of their in their input and their take on different things. And so I'm looking forward to next week as we continue to try to reach out to the other 2. If anyone listening or watching our show, if you have contact information for U.S. Rep Carolyn Bardeau or U.S. Rep Lucy McBath, please send them our way. They can go to popcornandpolitics.com, which is at the bottom of the screen. Click on Be a Guest and send over their information, and we'll love to book them on our show. We may have to even do a special show for them if they reach out. So we are definitely trying to get that because we don't want to seem like we're showing favoritism. Uh, we're reaching out to all, and for the record, the ones that are on our show are the ones that responded.
Absolutely. So if you know you want to be on our show, all you got to do is go to Popcorn and Politics and fill out the guest form that's on the show. Provide us with the necessary information, and we'll put you on the calendar. And Derek's right. We don't, some people we do know, and we chose them, but we said, listen, if you want to be on the show, just go and fill out the form. Now, granted, if you're gonna come on here spewing some nonsense, we probably gonna say no. I'm just telling you right
Right.
now before you waste your time filling out the form. If you're gonna
Well,
be
this is
spewing,
a progressive
Yeah.
progressive show. We're broadcast live on America One Radio, which is a progressive talk station based out of Atlanta, Georgia. So if you're not talking progressiveness, then like she said, don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time.
But we have reached out to you, whether we know you or not, whether we know you personally or not. We have reached out to people on multiple levels: U.S. Congress, governor, um, school board, mayors, city council, and so whoever we have booked on our show are the ones that responded. Uh, but I want our listeners to go out there and tell them, hey, if you see that the person you're supporting is not on the show, tell them, hey, they need to reach out to us because we've reached out to them. Maybe it's sitting in the inbox that haven't been read, but we're doing all different type of methods: Facebook, LinkedIn, email. I haven't shown up at anybody's house yet, but
Not yet. They're gonna think you're campaigning if you start knocking on the door.
right,
We're campaigning for popcorn and politics. Sometimes
right.
you gotta knock down the door.
Sometimes you have to, but
I want to say this real quick. So you mentioned councilman. I want to give a shout out to and the reason I can remember this kid's name is because there's a kid that played in the NFL. His name is Jalen Johnson. And so my nephew name is Jalen Bell. And there's a young man in Albany, Georgia, who is the youngest councilman ever to be elected. And his name is Jalen Johnson. So I'm reading something. I don't know what I was reading. And so my husband and I we were laying there, and I was like, "Look, his name is Jalen Johnson. He's 22 years old." And of course, I've reached out to him to be on the show because Albany is my home. And every time I go to Albany, I just I see what could be. I didn't even know Albany has 60,000 residents, Derek. I thought it was 29. I kept saying, oh, it's the same size as Lawrenceville. No, it's 60,000. I was like, what?
oh,
So I did
okay,
not know that. But when you go to Albany, Albany looks massive. Like, I can't even, it looks huge. Like, when I look at Lawrenceville, Snellville, Grayson, they look small compared to Albany. Albany is huge, and it has an airport. And I'm always saying, why isn't Albany like one of the most bustling economies in the state of Georgia? Because it has an airport, just like Atlanta. And so, of course, I reached out to Jalen like instantly, like, hey, would love to get you on the show. Come on in, because I want to know what's your plan. I want to know what's
right,
your plan. I feel like there are opportunities for real estate developers to go there and do things because of the airport, because of there's so many houses that are listen. There are houses that are still standing since I was 5 years old, literally, and I'm not lying. I was like, oh my god. When I was in the sixth grade, when I come in off of 300, coming in off of 300 to come on Clark. Anybody that knows lives in Albany know I'm coming off 300. I'm gonna make that right on Clark, coming off 300. And them houses are still there since I was a little girl. The same houses, Derek. I'm talking about the same houses. And I'm like, okay, seriously, nobody has done anything with these houses. So,
and
uh,
just for references purposes, how long was that
what?
since the house has been there? You said since she was a little girl. Just trying to
Just
understand.
okay. So to put it in perspective, Derek trying to be funny, but listen, I am blessed, and hopefully God will bless me one more year and another year after that. They're trying to be funny. I was born in Albany, Georgia in 1967. I ain't no shame in my game. Somebody ain't
Ooh,
make it this far. No, somebody ain't make it. Listen, here's the thing,
that's
Derek. You
true.
can say,
That's
some
true.
people say what you want to say. People see me like, you what? I'm like, yeah, I got a 30-year-old. They be like, really? So you can say what you want to say, boy. You can say what you want to say, y'all.
For all the young people who still having a hard time, 67, that was a year before Martin Luther King was assassinated.
It
And so
was.
and so just put that in perspective. That was
It
a
was. My brother was born the year he was assassinated, 68.
yeah, that was a
So put that
while.
in perspective. That's
And
right. And
speaking of Martin Luther
you
King,
took the
this
words
is
out of my mouth. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I say speaking of Martin Luther King, this is Martin Luther King's holiday birthday. For those of you who are not too abreast of history, Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday was actually yesterday, January 15th. He was born January 15th, 1929. And people are like, well, how you remember that? Well, because my grandma was born in 1928, so I've always put those two together. That my grandma was actually older than Dr. King. But this weekend has been dedicated. I want to say it's the second or third Monday in January. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's the third
It's the
Monday in
second,
January.
third.
Yeah, the third Monday in January has been dedicated as Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day. Uh, and that day is to honor Dr. King for his legacy, for his fight for civil rights, as well as to is a day of service. This year, the family has called, I don't want to say it's a protest. Maybe Audrey can help me. I don't want to say it's a protest, but they definitely said no celebration without legislation. And so I let Audrey, she want to go into that one.
I think it is a protest, Derek, because we are quick to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King because we are so grateful for the inroads that he made for us as African Americans in the United States, and so right now, as always, our rights to vote are always being challenged, which is crazy. You would think that after all these years that wouldn't be a case, and I'm still trying to figure out why that's the case. Like, why is that still a challenge that we have to still fight for the right to vote? Like, we were born here, like that's nuts to me. But I do think it was I do think that it is a protest because right now that legislation is up in the air and we don't know if it's going to be passed or not. And President Biden is taking a kicking for it because they want to have it passed, and so him and Vice President Harris, they were here last week in Georgia, telling people we got to pass this bill, and I don't know if it's going to pass. I really don't, because the Republicans and Joe Manchin, who's not a Republican, which is funny because he's like, I don't know what y'all should call me. Like, and we don't know what we should call you, the Joe. So
Nah, we're just as
we don't know what we
lost.
should call Joe. Like, yeah, like, so there's a lot of opposition for the voting rights bill, and we just don't know the freedom to vote. We don't know what that's going to do. But the King family has said, Dr. Martin Luther King fought for that. He fought for civil rights for all, and even though we want to celebrate and remember him, we have to fight to get our right to vote in 2022, which I think is totally ludicrous.
I know what to
Oh,
call him.
what?
Former's U.S. Senator. That's what he needs to be called real soon.
Yeah,
But unfortunately, his
real soon.
his seat not up until 24. So
Ah,
and that's why a lot of people feel like he's not too much moved, because we all know that people have short memories.
mhm,
It's kind of like Janet Jackson. What have you done for me lately?
mhm,
So
mhm.
2 years away from now, everyone's up in arms now, and then 2 years from now, we totally forget. Uh, and so, but yeah, he definitely need to be. I think it need to be term limits on these seats, because if you think about it, majority of the leadership of Congress, whether it's the House or the Senate side, they're all 65 and up. And that's low
Mm.
for 65, because I really wanted to say 70 and up, but let's say 65, because I do know that Nancy Pelosi, uh what's the frog?
The frog.
Yeah, Mitt McConnell. All of them are in their 70s, if I'm not mistaken. Maxine Water. That's not her
I
name.
think
Walter.
Nancy like 80.
See,
Nancy like 80, I think.
so I'm being nice because I don't know that. I know she's not too far behind Joe Biden and Trump. And if I'm not
No,
mistaken,
I
I
think
thought
I
she
think
was
Nancy's 80. Let me
I
see.
thought she was
Maxine, my
older than
girl.
yeah, I thought she was older than Trump. She might not be older than Trump though.
Who?
Uh, Nancy.
Yeah, Nancy. I think Nancy 80, Derek. Trump ain't 80 yet.
Well, but they
I'm
all in the same bracket, like
okay. Right,
Joe,
right.
Joe, Trump, Nancy, Bernie,
Nancy's
Maxine.
81.
See, how old is president is 78, 79 probably,
Mm-hmm.
and then Trump is 78, 78. So they're all in that. Mitt McConnell is in his 70s probably.
My girl
Chuck,
Maxine, 83.
see, 83. Chuck Schumer, like, you know, we need to start. And then, John Lewis, the one in Baltimore that passed away. I'm gonna get in trouble for not remembering his name. Elijah Cummings.
Watch the comments, yeah.
Uh, you know, all our leaders, whether they're Democrat or Republican, are 65 and up. And like
Yeah.
that's, you
Trump
know,
is 75.
okay, he the youngest.
Pretty much outside of Kamala.
Yeah, well, yeah, outside of her. And so we need to, there need to be term limits. Not saying there need to be age limits. Well, because the youngest you can, well, there is an age limit to be eligible, but it need to be term limits. This shouldn't be 30, 40 years down the line, and you still, new ideas, new perspectives need to be heard and seen, and that's why we keep on running into roadblocks that we're running into today, because like Senator Manchin, like, what is he holding back on? And I heard, I don't know if it was comedian, or I know I heard it on TV, where we basically, what he's displaying is that he's a racist before he's a Democrat.
What?
Because, yeah, just Senator Manchin is, uh I mean, clearly he's not a Democrat. If he's blocking a Democratic bill, you're blocking a Democratic president to extend the access to vote. And we all know that these new laws that the states are pushing out are definitely targeted towards minorities, black and brown, and any other non-white voter. And that's why it's out there that he's a racist before he's a Democrat,
Mm.
because why are you blocking this bill as we're trying to make it accessible for people to vote? And why are we having this conversation in 2022? This was a 1965 conversation. You know, this was a Jim Crow civil rights era conversation. Why are we arguing about the right to vote?
And I think for me that's the thing that baffles me, right? We have so many other things to focus on, and here we are 45 years, 55 years later, we're still talking about the right to vote. And when we got things like climate change, which I believe a lot of folks don't believe that, but just look at the crazy weather we got. Speaking of weather, it's snowing here in Georgia.
It's snowing.
Listen, we're having a slizzard.
Yeah, because I
that's
don't
that's
really think it's snowing.
that's slight snow. Instead of a blizzard, we're having a slizzard.
Yeah, it's like ice,
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's snowing here in Georgia. You got a
shaved
volcano that,
ice.
yeah, yeah. It's like having a, yeah. It's so funny because I called my friend, well, she called me, and I said, "Girl, we having a 4-inch blizzard on Sunday." She thought that was hilarious because she in Jersey, so they just had a real storm. But anyway, we had a volcano in Alaska. That was followed by, I think, a tsunami. I woke up this morning. They got tornadoes in Florida, so we got bigger issues. We
They
got a
have
pandemic.
they have rain in California, and we're not talking about just Northern California. It's they've been having record rainstorms in Southern California. We all know the song. It doesn't rain in Southern
In Southern
California.
California.
It's
Until
been
now,
it's been raining.
it's been raining. It's just a
Yeah.
lot going on, and I think that, and we got a pandemic that we can't get a grip on. We got people that are suffering from mental health issues because of all the stuff that's going on. And when I tell y'all, I totally understand these things. I do. I'd be remiss if I don't talk about this, Derek. And I don't know if you heard it. Um, the CEO of MARTA committed suicide, which I thought was, oh my God, like what happened? And I know somebody who works at MARTA, and he told us that they had to watch the videotape, and it was so graphic the way he described it. I'm not going to describe it here, but it
They had
was
to
it was
watch the
pretty.
videotape of him.
Yeah, they watched the videotape of him step in front of the train and kill himself.
Oh,
But
he
they do
did it.
that. He
Oh,
did it at MARTA.
that's ironic. But
Yeah, and I said, well, why would he do that? They said, well, he got fired. I was like, was he broke? I'm like, no, they still owed him $12 million. So apparently, it wasn't about the money, you
and,
know.
and
And
also
so,
nobody knew he got fired.
right, because this is inside information telling me this, and I was like, wow, And so, the way it was explained to me that he had got released from his position, and the next thing we know, he left a note, say he was sorry. They say he was a horrible person. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. This is what was told. But he said he was sorry for treating people the way he did in the note. So
Mm.
this was information that was shared inside the company, and my sources tell me that the wife wanted to watch the video, and she watched, and I said I don't think I would want to see that, but they said she watched the video of the whole thing, and she was calling him, he wasn't answering, and they said, oh, he's at work, and he just walks out in front of the train.
Wow,
I was
that's
like,
sad.
but I said all that to say that there are a lot of people out here because of all the stuff that's going on, that have mental issues, and we're fighting right now for our right to vote. All of those resources that we are putting towards that, we could be putting towards figuring out what the heck this little bug that won't go away is, and how to put it away, helping people with their mental status, helping people with health care. Instead, we're trying to figure out if they're gonna let us vote, which I think is
Yeah,
crazy
that
in
is that
2022.
that's horrible. And mental health is major. I want to say the state of Georgia, they just the legislator just created a mental health committee. You know how they got different committees, and
Mm-hmm.
so and it's a bipartisan committee, because Gwinnett's representative, what's his name, Greg Kennard, Representative
Mm-hmm.
Kennard, he's a co-chair of
Okay.
that, because as we all know, the Republicans are majority here in Georgia, so a Republican is the chair, but for him to be a co-chair, that's a major seat for a Democrat in the state of Georgia, and so
Well, I
there,
guess they got to recognize that mental health is can affect anybody. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and it seems like it's getting worse, and I think it is getting worse because of all the stuff that's going on. You know, you got people still sick and dying, and you got people still saying it is not true. You got people losing their jobs. You got people quitting their job in record numbers. You got CEOs trying to figure out how to make it work because they don't have employees. It's just a lot going on. The last two
yeah,
years have been the most turbulent 2 years of my life. I don't know about anybody else's, but they have truly been turbulent. And we just have to get a grip on some things, and fighting for the right to vote should not be one of them. But if that's
right,
what we got to do, that's what we got to do. Speaking of
right,
that,
and it's crazy. So speaking of the fighting for the right to vote, um, again, since Jim Crow era, uh, I mean, we never had this many states, with these voter suppression laws. The Supreme Court is definitely conservative, uh, and Trump did everything he could to pack the bench as much as possible with conservative judges. Uh, I can't think of the black guy name, the judge that's on there that's haven't said a word, and all of a sudden he
Clarence
can't.
Thomas,
Clarence Thomas. If you followed him from his sexual harassment scandal to now, the man very rarely opened his mouth, but he's so emboldened and empowered now by the former administration and just how everything, like, this guy has been talking more now than he's ever spoken in the last 30 some years, because they feel so, they have a majority, and they already struck down one part of the Voters Rights Act of 1965, and mind you, this is a black man. He doesn't believe in affirmative action, but yet, you know,
he's
he's a
there.
yeah, he's a direct example of the benefits of affirmative action, but he doesn't
Hmm.
believe in it. And he's a Ben Carson.
You know what we
So,
call him, right? You said it nicely. I was thinking something totally different in
or,
the
or should
house.
we say Ben Carson? Hey, Ben Carson is a Clarence Thomas, which is
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
if anybody
But you
saw,
call them to something. You know what you call them to. Where everybody else is out there picking cotton, where were they at?
well, to continue to be political correct, anybody seen Django? He's Stevens.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Mm-hmm.
he's
Mm-hmm.
he's
That's
Samuel L.
right.
Jackson's
That's right. I
Karen.
was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was not. That was even clearer and nicer because I was thinking something totally different and it wasn't either. So,
Yeah,
um,
and,
yeah,
and
and,
so
you
we
know,
just
and
have
it's
to do
so
better.
crazy. It's so crazy because I don't know how people can sit in good conscience knowing that the decision that I make right now will affect so many people adversely.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean? How
why
can you sleep?
and why are we overturning things that was overturned and years ago. Like, why is the current, and I say current, that means within the last 10 years, why is the current Supreme Court striking down a ruling from 1965 from from another Supreme. Well, the Voters' Right Act wasn't a Supreme Court movement. That was a law that was put into place through Congress. Now it done made it through how many Supreme Court that has said it's not unconstitutional. No portion of it was unconstitutional, and then now all of a sudden it's unconstitutional now. I have problems with that. I mean, and then like how they're trying to overturn Roe versus Wade. Like, if a Supreme, I find it mighty troubling that if a Supreme Court in 19 whatever can say something is unconstitutional, and then 50 years later, another set of Supreme Court justice can overturn that.
Right.
You know,
But why would
whether
you
it's
want to?
whether it's good or bad. Whether it's if it was a because you have to have it on both sides. We can't just only say, well, that was a good thing, so that's why we should fight for it. Even if the Supreme Court makes a decision, I feel like that decision should be final. Like another Supreme, because that decision is supposed to be strictly based on the Constitution.
Right.
So, example, if the Supreme Court in 1955 said it was constitutional for schools to be segregated, you know, 30, 40, 50 years later, another Supreme Court shouldn't be able to come back and say, well, no, that's unconstitutional because it's supposed to be based on the Constitution.
Right.
And so I just use that as an example because I'm not just saying everything that benefit me should be able to overturn. It should be because that's supposed to be the highest court of the land.
Right.
And now I get it that there are different interpretations of the of the Constitution, but at the end of the day, if that's supposed to be the highest and the final, how many times we gonna change the ending of this story?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know?
And the thing about that is it's supposed to be the highest court in the land, but it has become heavily politicized. Like it is
Oh yeah.
now, it's heavily. It's like you think that you're putting the right people in place, but it's so much politics involved in being a justice right now. It's unbelievable, and that we got to thank the last administration for that because
I'm about to
let
say,
me
yeah,
tell
they
you,
put the right people in place for them.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they had
they have.
every intentions, and they still had that intentions to overturn abortion.
Right.
That was
And
one of
my
the main things of who he picked to be on the board. I want to say he selected what, two, three?
and you know what, Derek? I know I wasn't there, but I'm sure it's some little red little sideways hairs that got deleted somewhere out there in the world. I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had some that got deleted. Right now he's so against it.
She say sideways hair. It took me a while to catch
I
that one.
know, and I'm trying to like, you know, use terms. Now
Right.
you can make. I didn't call a name. You can figure out who it is on your own.
Well,
But
my thing is, so me as a person, I personally do not agree with abortion personally.
right, right,
Uh, but I also feel like as a man, I have no right to say what a woman can and can't do.
right,
One. Two, there are circumstances, rape, incest. Okay. Um, and then for me is if okay, the other side is so pro life, but they fight every bill, every law, every program that's geared to help families. you
right,
know and so if you're forcing these families to have these kids, then the government should have if the government is forcing these people to have these kids, then the government should, if I say I don't want it, well, if I was a woman and I say I don't want this child and I'm being forced to have it, the government should be required to provide some type of assistance for me,
mm-hmm,
because my reasons of not having a child could be I can't afford to have this child. This was
right,
a I don't want to say a mistake, but this was an accident. This was not intended. I was raped. It was incest. Like, but they're trying to just, you know, and they care about that life, but yet they don't care about once the baby pop out, they don't care no more.
Right. And not only you may not be able to afford the kid. What if you're not mentally fit to handle a kid? What if you're not mentally fit to be a parent? There was a young lady recently here in Gwinnett County, I think, she's 29 years old, and she killed her baby. The baby must have been like a year, I think, but she couldn't have been mentally right. You know what I mean? And
That's
I'm not condoning abortion either, because that's not something that I condone. But you have to think about all these things. So now you have two lives lost, a totally innocent one that probably shouldn't have had to go through what they went through, and then you got this young lady who probably needed the mental help that she needed. So it's just like a catch-22 all the way around. But like you said, why are you going back 50 years to change laws? So many things we need to be focused on right now. So many
right.
things. We're not
Because if
paying attention to the things that's happening right around us. We're so busy living in the past. We got to get out of that. We got to move forward. And unfortunately, they want to have power. They want to have control. They want to tell you what to do, and that's why they fight so hard to put these laws and these people in places so they can do that, which I think is just horrible.
that's why I love when after the bill passed here in Georgia that basically restricted abortions, the heartbeat bill. I
Yes,
love when Representative Kendrick came out with the testicular bill because
yes,
that's basically if men are able to control and have say so on a woman's ovaries, then her argument was, well, we as women should have a right to say what's going on with them testiculars down there.
that's right.
And
That's right.
because again, that's I mean, as a man, who am I to tell you what you can and can't do with your body? Uh, I I I would say that if the father, because the father has no no say so in that, as in whether a woman has an abortion or not, that's not a conversation that most probably have with the other guy. It's just it happens if they choose to do it. I do say that, but if the guy chooses not to, say, I mean, just like the woman have a choice, I feel like the guy should have a choice too. As
You know
in,
what?
if he didn't, like say she wants it but he doesn't, he should be able to sign a waiver. Just like if he wants it, but she doesn't, she can just go get an abortion.
Mhm.
Whereas, there's no, if he say he doesn't want it, but she wanted, she has the baby. Now he's on child support for life for a child that if he was a woman, he could have had aborted. So I
Mhm.
think in order to make it fair, it should be some waivers involved on that front. And also, as a man, if you're not if you're not married at the time of birth, you have no rights, no legal rights to that child. All the rights go direct to the mom. The only way you can get rights to your child is either through a court junction or through marriage. And I think that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
definitely here in Georgia. I don't
Yeah.
know how it is in the rest of the states, but I've recently learned that here in Georgia, even if you are the father and your name is on the birth certificate, you have no rights. And I was like, I had never heard of that before until then. And that's so true. I wanted to go back for a second. For those of you who don't know what the testicular bill is, when they came out with the heartbeat bill, Darshan came out and said, you know what, we want to start charging child support as soon as the baby is, as soon as they have a heartbeat. Since you want to say it's a baby, then we want to go into the womb and we want to start having child support taken. And we need to be, I think she said something along the lines, we need to be able to what did she say? I think it was something about getting a mastectomy. So people thought it was a joke, right? But when you look at it, when you look at that, if you're telling women what to do with their bodies, then hey, let's do both. Men too. You don't want to have it, you don't want to have an abortion, then hey, let's do mastectomy. I'm not mastectomy, vasectomy. And but it
Right.
was and so I was doing a show one day, Derek, and I was talking about it when it first came out. I was doing a show and I was live on Blog Talk. And with Blog Talk, you can just call in. Like it's a telephone number, you can just call in. This guy called me from New Orleans, and he was like, "Oh, now he was blaming black women," and I was like, "Wait a minute." hold up now. You don't. He's like, that's all black women do is get pregnant and have abortions. Oh, he was just going on and he was a black guy, black guy. And I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like
Yeah,
what you're
because
saying
first
is
of all,
bullshit.
Planned Parenthood was created by a white person to kill black babies. So
Right. He don't know history.
let's
That's an interesting history, right, y'all? So now you might want to
yeah.
go say you might want to go do a little bit of digging and check it for yourself. One thing I can tell you about Derek, if he's talking about something on popcorn and politics, he know about it. So I'm always learning. So you can somebody saying that's not true, go check it. I know y'all gonna go check it anyway. Go on check it out.
I mean, check
See
it,
for
and if
yourself.
I'm incorrect, please let me know. Um, but I do know that the founder of at that time Planned Parenthood was not pro African American. Leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah. So I see we got some comments. We talking about that, huh?
Uh-oh, wait a minute. I see the comment button lit up, y'all. Hold on. Babies are a gift. There's more than there's. Okay, let's pop it up on the screen.
Hmm.
Oh Lord, look at this. Babies are a gift. There's more that meets the eye on this. 800,000 black women are killing their babies. We must end this practice. Okay, so LinkedIn user. Where did you get that stat from? And did you compare that stat to other races of people, or you just went and looked up a stat for black women? I just would like to know that.
And let's
If
and
you,
let's just and let's just be clear. Black women are not the only ones having abortions. I
they
mean,
are not.
that's a myth in itself. When we all know that that's not true. Abortions is available amongst anybody at this point, and just like the myth that minorities are the majority on welfare and on and get federal assistance, when that's not the truth as well. So
Right.
let's not perpetrate that lie that black women are, but I never heard that statistic.
I
And
haven't either. And I would love for you to provide the information when you got that. And I would also like for you to do a counter analysis and see what other race of people are doing having abortions. Since you have a
but
big old 800,000, that's a huge. So that's
that's
almost a
a
million women a year.
That's a huge one. But also, since we're talking about black women and babies, I do know in the state of Georgia, black women has a higher mortality rate in giving birth than any other race in this state, which means more black women die giving birth in the state of Georgia than any other state in the country. I do know that. That's a problem. Are we talking about that? That's an issue. Because why are
Right.
black women dying more giving birth than their counterparts? You know,
That's a good question. And maybe we need to find out why that is. Is that because um thank you, LinkedIn user. We love what we're doing too, but our goal here on this show is to educate people as much as we can about what's going to change their lives and how politics and laws and legislation impact their lives. So it's
I do
important,
have
and
a
we do
question.
appreciate your comments.
I appreciate it. I would appreciate it more if you had a name attached to your comments. Don't speak in silence.
Yeah, well, people don't want to be seen all the time, Derek.
I
It's you
mean,
and I that's up here on the video on Sundays, showing our face.
yeah, but
Not everybody like us.
don't what they say, throw your stone and hide your hand. Like if you gon'
I've never heard that. That's interesting though. Don't throw your stone and hide your hand.
yeah,
Okay, better health in Middle Georgia. Okay, so there's an issue. So
okay.
why is that? Why is there a problem? Is it why is there a Okay, there we go again. Right, we're talking about voting rights, and we got people dying, women dying giving birth. Right, we should be focusing on
Yeah,
healthcare.
healthcare.
We should be
Yeah,
focusing on climate change, but we're trying to change rules from 1947.
right. And hi, Miss Jackson.
Hi, Miss Jackson.
uh,
Sorry, Miss Jackson. No, I'm just kidding. How you
yeah.
doing, Miss Jackson? Thanks so much for joining us and commenting.
Yeah, but you're absolutely correct about the healthcare. in middle Georgia and rural Georgia. I mean, how many hospitals have been closed down before the pandemic? What the pandemic showed us is that rural healthcare is definitely needed. But we'll have a more in-depth conversation on that on our show January 30th, because we have a candidate, Representative Matthew Wilson, who is running for insurance commissioner of the state of Georgia. So,
Hmm.
Ms. Jackson, we'd love for you to come back on that one to ask those questions about health care, health insurance, and just all that January 30th. And also, he's a state rep. Next week, we're having a state rep. State reps are the ones that pass these laws. Please note that they are Democrats, so they are in the minority. But those will be great questions to ask our elected officials, especially the ones that are in the state legislature, because those are the ones who determine those laws. But those are great questions, and I do understand what you're saying about preserving Black lives, which is totally important. Um, but we need not to make sure that we need to make sure that we're not making it seem like that this is only a issue amongst Black women when it come down to
Right.
abortions. Um, that's all.
You desire to come back, so you ran in 2020. All right, join the fight. Listen, join the fight. Come on the show. Talk to us. If you decide to join the fight, go to popcornandpolitics.com. Sign up to be our guest there and come on and talk to us, because we need people to explain why these things are happening in 2022. Why are mothers dying at birth? Why are we going back 50 years to turn back laws that are already passed? Why? Like my
Right.
granddaughter say, why, Gia? Why? She asked me, we can't do that. Why? Because we can't. Why? That's her thing.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
And
So
and and again, that's why that's why we need a federal law for voting rights, because the states are just doing whatever they can to limit the access to vote. And people say, well, why would they do that? Because Republicans realize that once if everyone that's eligible is given the access to vote, they will lose. That's why they had such a uproar in 2020 with the mail-in ballots and all, and just because it's just they realized that if everybody had the access to vote, if they made voting easy for everyone that was eligible, they would lose.
well, your past president just recently said that he put it out there in the news that if this voting act passed, no Republican will ever win again. That's what he said. That's the past president from the last administration. He just put that out to the universe this past
Yeah,
week.
I saw
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So
And so that should tell you something. I mean, what are you scared? I mean, every time they change the rules of the game, the Democrats, we learn those rules and then we excel, and then they want to change them again. Now we met your rules, now you're changing the rules again, and it's it's horrible and it's ridiculous. But Donald Trump basically said what they all have feared. He just said it publicly. They
hmm
fear that if everyone that's eligible is given that same equal access to vote as everyone else without all the hoops, jumps, and loops, then they will not win. He said it, you know.
they
That's
were
what they
thinking
all was
it.
thinking. Yeah, they were thinking it. And I don't necessarily know if that's true or not, but as a citizen of this country, the right to vote is one of the things that we all look forward for, or at least I do anyway, because that's my voice. And so hindering my access to vote is that's taking my voice away. So um I don't care whether you're black, white, whatever. Uh, more Democrat people have registered people to vote. And when you go register people to vote, you don't say, "Hey, are you registered as a Democrat or Republican?" You walk up to any and everybody and register people to vote. And
Right.
because that's a nonpartisan issue, the right to vote. I don't care if you're black or white, Hispanic, whatever. As long as you're a U.S. citizen and you're over the age of 18 or you 17 and 10 months by the time of election, you're eligible to vote.
Hmm.
So we
All
have
right.
access,
Well,
I promise you.
well, we have access. Then we need to make sure everybody's registered and they can get to the voting polls because we know it's going to be a fight in 2022. We already know that. Speaking of fights, so Stacy done raised 19 something, 19 point something million.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a money raising machine, but she's trying to win. And I listen, whatever we can do to help her win, then that's what we do. And so
And
I'm sure we'll be.
to respond to that, we do have access, but the access is steady being hindered and steady being clouded. It's almost like saying, uh, I have a TV, but if that TV doesn't work, it's a useless TV. So yeah, we have access, but if you continue to put hindering blocks to that access, like one example is the some states require the voter ID. In order to get a voter ID, you have to have a birth certificate. Okay, from the jump, everybody would say, well, okay, well, yeah, that's great. You have to have a birth certificate. Well, uh, my grandma was born in a house in a country town in 1928. If I mean, she passed, but she would have been 93. I know living 93-year-olds. Uh, where's their birth certificate if they're unable to locate their birth certificate? Oh, well, they can just go down to the courthouse and get a new one. Yeah, but some of the information that they need to get that new one may not be there because, as we all know, the older the black person is, the less likely that the records were kept correctly. And so that's just one simple example. It's almost like going back into the 60s where you had to do a literacy test to vote. Uh, we all know that those are hindering blocks to to vote. And so I use that as an example as the literacy test. So technically, black people did have the right to vote in 1965 before the Voters' Rights Act. They had the right to vote, but what stopped them from voting is the literacy test. And so,
Miss Jackson, I appreciate y'all your comments, and I wish we had more time, but we would love to have you come on because you seem like you're very knowledgeable. Please go to popcornandpolitics.com and fill out the guest form there. And if you don't mind, come on and talk to us. Share. We don't know everything. We know, and I'm learning as I go. And
yes,
so, if you know things that we don't know that our listeners and viewers need to know, we invite you to come on and be a guest of the show. Just go to popcornandpolitics.com. There is a form, there's a tab, there's a guest, and you can come on and be a guest. I would love to see you seem to have some great information that I don't know about, but I would love to share on this show. And I
right.
invite you to come on and be a guest. Now we are booked. I must say this: we are booked up through February, so we won't. You will have to come on in March because the show is booked. Speaking of being booked, make sure to join us next Sunday at 1 p.m. State Rep Donna McLeod is going to be our guest. And if you don't know Donna, you will after this show because she is a firecracker for real. And she is passionate about the work that she does. So be sure to tune in next Sunday at 1 o'clock. But
And
hey,
very passionate about voter registration and voter rights. So I would love for Miss Jackson to be back next week as well. So
yeah, come back. I see you doing a lot of work. I see the good things you're doing right here. So please, come on with us and State Rep Donna McLeod next week. I will send you a link if you fill out that form so you can join Derek and myself and State Rep McLeod, and we can have a great conversation next week. So I hope you take us up on that offer and join us. Popcornandpolitics.com. All right, well, Derek, I don't know if you got more to talk about. I'm pretty done.
yeah, I'm about to go out here and go play in this snow with my kiddos.
Yeah, we
I'm
had a
still
slizzard, y'all. That's
well,
like a slight snow blizzard. It's called a slizzard.
we need to be concerned with more what I'm confused about that one,
Yeah,
but
we do need to be concerned with a lot more. We should
a
be
lot
focused on
more,
all
right?
the stuff that's going on right now. Anyway, hey, listen, guys. Again, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Ms. Jackson, for tuning in. Hope you join us next Sunday. Derek J. Wilson, thank you for being my co-host and enlightening the people, enlightening our people. They need to know what they need to know. So thank you for doing that. Be sure to tune in next Sunday, 1 p.m. Same bat place, same bat time, and we will be here with State Rep Donna McLeod. And she, she's got, I'm sure she's going to say what she has to say. Donna don't bite her tongue for anybody. So if you got something to say, or you want to hear what she has to say, join us at 1 p.m. And if you want to be on the show, go to goodmorninggwinnett.com. And if you want to be on the show with Donna, go to goodmorninggwinnett.com. Not Good Morning Gwinnett. Listen is what I'm saying. Derek, you didn't even say anything. So Good Morning Gwinnett is tomorrow morning, y'all. Not Good Morning Gwinnett. So Good Morning Gwinnett is my morning show. I'm saying going to go to good. I'm so used to saying that. Go to popcornandpolitics.com. Go to popcorn. Yeah. If you want to be on the Good Morning Gwinnett show, go to goodmorninggwinnett.com. Every day, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., Monday through Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, we plugging our other projects as well.
I did it by mistake, so I had to tell the people what Good Morning Gwinnett is. So you got a project you want to plug? Listen, you got the floor. You got about a minute.
I just want, if you are a business owner, small business, and you are interested in joining the chamber, I am the interim president of the Greater Eastside Chamber of Commerce. Please visit our website at mygecc.org to learn about some of our great membership packages. And we would love to help your business grow. Or if you're an individual, we would love to help you grow with professional development as well. We are a Grow with Google partner, as well as partners with other amazing organizations. And so, and we're on TV.
We're on TV. We're on TV right now. So, like, if you got a Roku next Sunday, listen, we're on TV streaming live right now. If you have a Roku device in your house and you want to just lay in the bed and watch us next week, just go to Roku, download Noise Media Network, the app to your device, and you can watch us live every Sunday on your TV. So you don't have to sit in front of your computer. You don't have to hold a phone. If you got one of them 50-inch TVs like most people have these days, listen, download Noise Media Network, watch the show live. We're gonna be live, big, and in person on your 50-inch.
All right. And again, we're broadcasting on America One Radio every Sunday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m.
Right. All right. So thank you again, everybody. Listen, Derek, thanks again for co-hosting. We'll be back again next week. Same bat place, same bat time. Until next time, everybody. Until next time. Make it a great day. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
You've been listening to Popcorn in Politics. What's the Real Deal? Hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney and Derek J. Wilson. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your family and friends. To support the show, visit us on the web at www.popcornandpolitics.com. Connect with us on Facebook at Progressive Popcorn and on Instagram at Popcorn Politics Podcast.